advice, education, information on anything and everything to do with business. I need to apologize for the beginning of the show. We're having slight technical issues that my producer is working very hard to sort out. So please bear with us. But we're going to have a really great show today. Last week we talked about how to do business successfully during COVID. And I fed some tips on what other business owners have had to do to survive and evolve during this period. I want to thank everybody that contributed to that, all the business owners that contributed to that. I want to thank Kola Litzmain, Toyin Onapowu, Helen Efemine, Remy Banjoko, everybody that gave us some information and some tips that were vital and viable to my listeners. I'm really, really grateful for that. And I spoke about some of the things that I'd had to do in order to thrive during this period. And you can thrive. You can thrive. It just takes some adapting on your part, some changes on your part. But one of the things that we discussed, you cannot say, this is how we've always done things, I'm just going to ride it out and go back to what I was doing before, because that's not going to work. There is no going back to what we were doing before, at least not the way we were doing it. There has been some kind of variation. This radio show is as a result of my necessity to change, because I'm a speaker and a trainer, and most of my my business is done on a face-to-face business basis. I stand on the platform and I speak to people and I disseminate information. But of course, during COVID, that hasn't been possible. So I needed another platform with which to relate to my people, and so I decided to do the radio show. So that's been great. It's worked very successfully because it has brought me to the attention of a lot of people who probably never have known who I was. Another thing that I've done was I revived a mastermind group that I used to have, so that I could stay in touch with other entrepreneurs and their iron could sharpen my iron and vice versa. Because when you're in business, it can be very lonely, and particularly when you're going through a crisis, an unprecedented crisis like COVID-19, you need all the support that you can get. So I ensured that I revived the mastermind group, and that has been very good. And also a lot more collaborations. So rather than just having events, webinars under my own banner, there's been a lot more collaboration. I've appeared on a lot of other people's platforms. In particular, Let's Talk Marriage. There's a lady in America who has a program called Let's Talk Marriage. And I've done a series. I've done 3 episodes on financial pressure in relationships and given tips and advice as to how those can be alleviated. So again, there are things that you have to do, but you must be able to be flexible, and you must be willing to change, because the area in which we are in requires that. Okay, so today I start a 3-part series on developing passive income. And today I'm going to be talking about how to write a book and increase your income. Write a book and increase your income. As many of you know, I'm the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur, which should be on the right-hand side, the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And this book has done wonders for me. And so I'm hoping that you will hear some tips that will make sure that it does the same for you. But before I do that, I just want to say, what exactly is passive income? So passive income is income that requires little or no effort on your part to earn and to maintain. So, for example, rental income. So you buy a property and you're getting rental income from it. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to be on the property every day or work on the property every day. It just yields, revenue. Or it's something that you do just once and it just keeps giving you money. So basically, whatever it is making money while you sleep. And that's really where we want to get to. For those of you who have been following the program, I have spoken in the past about we must put systems in place in our businesses so that we are not, our business is not dependent on our physically being in an office for us to generate income. If you do that, if your business is, then you have not created a business, you have created a job, and you need to get away from that as soon as possible. So we're going to be talking about passive income, and like I said, for those of you who are just joining us, you are very welcome to the BB Means Business Show. And today we're talking about how to write a book and increase your income. So just to let you know that we're live and this is an interactive program. I want to hear your views on anything that we discuss here, and indeed we will try to answer any questions that you have. You can hook us up on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @StarRadioUK, or you can text or WhatsApp us on 07539 661 744, or email us at info@StarRadioUK, or just join us via Facebook at Star Radio UK. Okay, so get your pens and your paper and your iPad and whatever else you're going to need, because you're going to have a lot of information to take in today. And it is my pleasure, as always, it is my pleasure to have two very, very special guests on the program who are going to help me go through some of the questions that we have. My guests are called Mr. Laddie Sunny and Lisa Newton. So, Laddie, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be here. My name is Laddie Sunny. I'm a publishing consultant, author, and speaker. And I've been in the publishing industry for over 20 years now. And books, stayed there at the top as one of my passions. I basically help leaders, trainers, coaches, and entrepreneurs, share their message so that they can make more impact and more income within their niche.
Okay, cool. Lisa, are you there? Could you join the program, please? Just let us know who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Lisa Newton, and I run a business called Boogles, and we publish books, we turn books into audio, and we turn those books into training courses as well. So our sort of niche specialism is those who have information to impart, and just as you were saying, BB, in the introduction, instead of continuously having to do something, we can bottle your knowledge and sell it. So we help people who are in business to do just that. And one of the first books I ever wrote was called Constant Cash Flow, because I'm a huge believer in just having the money rolling every single day. So we're really quite excited to be on the show, because this topic is like right up my street, really.
Cool. All right. So this is going to be a really interesting program. So, okay, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to ask certain questions, and then you just jump in where you think you can assist. Okay. So, first of all, how does a book enhance your image as the go-to person in your industry? As you know, that's what everybody wants to be seen as now. Everybody wants to be seen as a guru. Everybody wants to be seen as a go-to person. How does a book help establish you in the marketplace as the go-to person?
Well, there's something, there's something magical about having your information and your expertise in written form. And over the centuries, hundreds of years, even thousands of years, when something is written down and put in a form that it can be retrieved, there is this, psychological thing that, yes, whoever wrote this is actually an expert. It just gives you that credibility. I guess that has come from the history of, our history, ancient and modern history of writing. So it's something that has been with us for thousands of years. I mean, if you go to the British Library today, they have newspapers dating back to hundreds of years. Okay, so having your expertise documented, sorts of, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's almost magical. Let me say, it just makes you believable, and it just puts you in that. It puts you in the front where people just see you as an expert, and that's what happens. I mean, time and time again. Let me give you a very simple example. If you look at a lot of these TV shows, CNN, Al Jazeera, any of these TV or radio shows, you will see that it's easier for, a lot of these experts brought on are actually authors, or maybe they're about to release a book or they've just released a book. So that's what
Okay.
it just does for you. It's purely psychological. It's a perceived value, let me say.
Perceived value. That's interesting. Lisa.
And can I just add that also, just to back up exactly what you're saying there, Laddie, is that because so many people have got a book, it's almost an expectation, particularly if you're a speaker, to also have your thoughts down on the page as well. So I think that, you know, it's an expectation now to have that the book as well. So and it definitely adds to credibility, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it adds to your credibility and it adds to your authenticity. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I think the point that Laddie made also about the fact that what you know, your knowledge appears in written form that can be retrieved is very, very important. Particularly if you're legacy minded. I think that we should not just be speaking to our generation, but we should have a voice to the next generation. And your book kind of just sets out what it is that you want the next generation to know about you and about what your thoughts were and your journey in life. So yes, I agree with that. Thanks for that, guys. Okay, so how does it work as a marketing tool in building your brand? Lisa?
Well, you know, there's a saying that the book is the new business card. And I think that, you know, in terms of marketing, you can do
Say that again, because I like that. Say that again.
The book is the new business card. So in terms of marketing, and you know, I do a lot of networking, and you know, people exchange business cards all the time. But if you, and you know, and the thing is with business cards, you know, it can be like confetti. You put them down, you put them somewhere. But if someone actually gives you a book, you know, it's tangible. You're not going to throw it away because we have a value to books, you know. So we're going to put it in a treasured place. So and that's marketing in itself. You know, your book can be sitting on someone's bookshelf or on someone's desk, and that is constantly reminding them of you. So there's that, you know, specialness to that, and that's marketing, you know. And also I think that when people read your book, and this is what people said about me, is that they will say, oh, you know, I can hear your voice in my head, Lisa. And what better marketing than that? Like, to be inside someone's mind, like, that is marketing, you know.
Yes. Nadia, before you come into that, I think what you said there is very, very important, particularly at networking events, because the whole point of a networking event is not to hand out 1 million business cards, as a lot of people are mistaken. It is to make a connection.
Yeah.
And the more memorable you can be, the better for you. So I think what you've said is vital, because just like you rightly said, a lot of these business cards just go in the bin.
Yeah.
If you give somebody a book, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. It might sit on their desk for the next 6 months before they open it. But it's interesting that you said that your voice, they can hear your voice in their head. And that's it. That's what you want. That's the whole point of marketing, that you occupy a space in somebody's head.
Yeah.
Okay. Laddie, what have you got to add to that?
Yes, I mean, Lisa said it all. It's such a great way of being in somebody's space without actually intruding. I mean, I have books by my bed, I have books on my desk, I have books all over the place. Some of them I've not read in a while, but just out of to satisfy my guilt, I just bring the books out and just say, yeah, this is what I'm going to be reading. I just put it beside me, just looking at those books, and then it's just there, right in front of you. And then you pick up this book, and then that person just keeps coming to your mind. And because nowadays there's so much information, there's so much distractions. If I get a book, I can think of, oh wow, I think I can invite this person for a podcast or for a webinar or something like that. So yeah, that is the thing about a book being a business card, and it's not difficult to get into. So I encourage you, to write a book and package expertise and and get further than the average business card. Yes.
Okay. It reminds me of something I heard Les Brown say this week, because I'm doing a course with him. I'm doing a one-on-one course with him, and he was saying that attention is the new currency. And I thought that was attention currency. Like you said, everybody, there's so much information out there. Everybody's dying for your attention. But I think when you have a book, that it gives you that edge. You're able to get the person's attention quicker and for a longer lasting period. Because your thoughts, your knowledge, your information is now embedded in their mind once they've read your book. And of course, I'd expect you to know your industry sector inside out. But yes, that you have their attention for longer. Yeah, that's important. Okay. All right. We'll take one more question before we go for a break. The question is, do you need a publisher or should you self-publish? What's the advantage of having a publisher, Laddie?
Well, I used to work in one of the legacy publishing houses many years ago, and one of the advantages of having a publisher is that the publisher is established. If you're an established publisher, they already have a big network and they already have the expertise in-house to actually bring your book to market. And of course, if they are established, they have certain standards. And so a normal publisher will, if, for example, I have had about 2 publishing deals, okay? So, but in a normal publishing house, let's say a medium to a large publishing house, things will tend to be slower than usual because they've got this backlog of things like going through. So sometimes, even when they assign you to an editor or somebody in charge of your book, it will be slower, okay? Yes, but of course, the quality will be there, all right? However, there is a downside to that. The normal legacy, medium, large publishers are not very good at marketing at all. They're just beginning to get to grasp of this, a grasp of this after God knows. I think Kindle was introduced over how many years ago? It's close to, is it 15 years? I'm not sure. But the bigger publishers are not really good in marketing. However, you can also self-publish. And of course, that's a different kettle of fish in itself.
Okay, let Lisa come in with the self-publishing bit.
Yeah.
How do you self-publish?
You can self-publish via platforms such as Lulu, Amazon Kindle, I think it's called. It used to be called CreateSpace. And what's interesting now is that some of the bigger names have a offshoot. They have arms that don't go by the same name as them, but allow you to self-publish through their platform, which I think is quite clever. And I think, with publishing, to be published or to be self-published, there's some snobbery for those people who I want a publisher, but the downside with the publishing is that they do take a large percentage of your royalties, which is very nothing. But on top of that, though, they do a lot of the work. So, if you're going to self-publish, yes, you've got a little bit more creative license, less people to answer to. It's your book, you don't have to, sort of go with what they're saying, but you do have to, get your team together. So you do need to find your editor, your proofreader, and then, most people think, okay, I've written a book, that's it. But no, that's where, in my opinion, the hard work begins, because writing a book is one thing, but when you self-publish, you're doing all the marketing yourself. And a lot of people don't really realise that. They just think, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to be discovered. And it's not like that. You have to plug and market the book continuously. There's no stopping. You sell a book, it's not just that you have to keep on going. So people sort of misunderestimate that, whereas if a publisher's got a big catalogue, they can do a push, and then if they've got certain genres, you're in that genre, you get the benefit of being pushed through that. So there's pros and cons with everything, but I think with self-publishing it will become more and more the norm, I think, and then the traditional publishers are really going to have to sort of rethink what they're doing. They've even had this thing recently whereby they were trying to find more authors of colour, I think it was called, because they realised they didn't have any. But that was off the back of this maybe George Floyd thing. So, if you're not, maybe they've got a certain genre or so many books they want to publish in a certain thing, if you're not in that flavour of the month, then maybe you won't get a look in. Not to say your book's no good, but it's just that's not what they're looking for at the moment. So it's highly competitive. and it will take longer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to give a shout out to some people who've joined us on Facebook. Funke Alarape, thank you very much for joining us. I can see you there. Thanks for your support. I hope you're enjoying the program. We're going to take a break in a minute, and then when we come back, we'll take some more questions. I want to say thank you to our guests so far. You've been very insightful information. So don't go away. Just get your water or whatever it is that you need. It's boiling hot, so I guess it's ice water or a cold drink that you need. And then join us right after the break. See you soon.
How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you've grabbed your glass of Coke or whatever it is that you need. For those of you who are just joining us, you are listening to the BB Means Business show, your weekly dose of education, information, advice, and tips about anything and everything to do with business. And this, you are listening today to the first in a series of shows on passive income. In the future, we're going to do a show on property, on investment and trading. But today we're looking at how to write a book and increase your income. Write a book and increase your income. And we spoke about what passive income is. It is where you have income from something that requires little or no effort on your part, or you do it just once, like writing a book. You write the book only once, and then it just keeps producing money. Every time you sell it, you make money from it. Okay, I have two special guests on the program, and they have been great so far. So I'm looking to tap their brain a bit more. Got Mr. Ladi Sani on the line, and Lisa Newton as well. Ladi Sani is the MD of Transcribed Publishing Limited, and Lisa Newton is the MD of Bugle's Bookkeeping. Okay, so we're going to go back to our questions. Now, this one is very important. I want to spend a bit of time here. How do you make money from writing a book? So what I'm looking for is practical ways in which you can make money from writing a book. Ladi, you want to go first? Can't hear Ladi. Lisa, do you want to go? Because I can't hear Ladi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you go, because I can't hear you.
Okay. So the way you can use your book in order to increase your income is that you can, different ways. Some people sell the book outright, and that provides them with income there. What you can also do with that book, some people will give the book away for free. Unintuitive as that may sound, but then they might just say, oh, but can you cover the postage? And that's a way in order to build your business list, for example, because you get people's email addresses, because you can give away an ebook, so it doesn't actually necessarily cost you anything. And some people might say, oh, you can get a hard copy book, but you pay for postage. But it's a way for you to get your message out there to potential clients. And this is specifically for those people who are using their book as a sort of if they're a consultant or have some sort of specialism, and that's what they've written a book about. So let's say I'm into marketing, I've written a book about marketing, a lot of people want marketing advice. I could use that as like a lead magnet in order to collect potential customer details and so on like that. Or I could just straightforward sell the book.
Well,
okay. Yeah, go on, Ladi.
Another way you can make money is, based on your book, right? Based on your book, like Lisa mentioned much earlier in the show, what she does, you can create courses, or you can create a consulting system around your book. and the work has been done already. So I know that, yeah, there's COVID now, but one of the things going forward is, creating workshops, seminars paid for, yeah, or some sort of a small niche group paid for, based on the book. And also, one of the ways is to actually, you can even charge for like a discovery call. You might give the first 30 minutes free. I do that with clients, where I have a monthly, every 2 weeks, I have a monthly, twice a month, I have a coaching, and my clients pay me based on what, I've written in my book, based on my expertise from that book. So that's just one of the few ways you can actually, publish make money from your book. So many other.
Okay, so we've looked at direct sales, where you sell directly. Excuse me. And we've also looked at how you can disseminate the information. This is the passive income part of it. It's the same content, the same information, and you just put it in different formats. And it is unbelievable how many ways you can make money from the same content. And the reason being, because people take in information in different ways. So you can have an audiobook, same content. You can have a Kindle, same content. And like Laddie said, you can break it down into short courses, same content. You can have an hour webinar. You can take one chapter in your book. Like, for instance, I've done seminars or webinars on how to find and keep your customers, which is just one chapter in my book. And I've sold a whole seminar on that. People pay a lot of money for that. Things like how to understand your economic environment is one of the chapters in my book. I did a whole webinar around just that. People pay a lot of money. So again, it's the same content. You've only written it once. You've written that book once, but you can move that content around and present it in different formats, and it keeps paying for itself. Then, of course, for instance, my book is available on Amazon. Problem with Amazon is that they do take quite a chunk of your profit, but notwithstanding, they have a platform like no other. So yes, so Amazon, but you can also buy it from my website as well. So of course, when you buy direct from me, I get to keep a greater amount of the money. And then if you are a speaker, and I would advise, I don't care what industry you're in, I would advise that you develop good public speaking skills so that you can stand on the platform and sell your goods and services. You must be able to do that. In this day and age, there is just no excuse, and there is no other way around it. You have to be able to do that. So I would go and speak somewhere or hold a webinar, and that webinar doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the book, but then I could then just say, if you'd like the book, it's available. You can even do a discount. So let's say your delegates have paid a large amount of money. You can let that money cover the cost of the book and offer it as a free or discounted product. Again, that's, it enhances what you're doing. It makes people feel that they're getting something extra. You've added value to them. So they didn't just get a seminar. And you can make this a surprise. You don't have to tell them beforehand. That makes it even better. So you've done a seminar and you say, just to say a thank you for you guys signing up for this webinar, I'd like to give you a free copy of my book. And of course, you've covered the cost of the book anyway, so it's not really that big a deal. So yes, there are loads of ways in which it can be used. At events, you can have exhibition stands and have your books there. You can use it as an introductory item. So for instance, you have a web page that is dedicated just to the book. And what Lisa was saying earlier is important, because now the way we make money is through our lists or through our communities. So you could have a page dedicated to the sale of the book, and in order for them to download the book or to receive a copy of the book, they have to leave their contact details. So from then on, you're now able to keep in touch with your community or with the list, and let them know of other events that you are holding that they may be interested in. The fact that somebody has purchased your book or they've come to download your book already says that this is your clientele. So it takes away the need for you to go searching for who are my clients. The fact that they have come to buy the book already tells you they want what you got. So that helps with your marketing. It saves time with your marketing. Okay. How do royalties work? Laddie, how do royalties work? And do you
Well,
have to pay tax and royalties?
well, it depends on who you are dealing with. Now, for example, I got, like I said, got a couple of books with a legacy publishing house. They give you between 8 to 12% of of what you make from the book. If they give you an advance, for example, when I wrote my first book for a publishing house, they gave me an advance. But remember, they will take the advance back from the sale of the book. So they will not give you a royalty check until they've made the advance back from that.
Okay.
So you've got to realize that. And if your book, if you're like your book is, you did it in conjunction with an illustrator, many times based on the agreement, they will split the royalties in 2 ways. Depends on the on the contract. But in terms of Amazon, of course, BB, and of course, Lisa, you probably will know, it's sometimes, I think, 70-30. Amazon takes 30% of that, and it's you take 70%. If there's a threshold, they want to keep the prices of the books down. So that's how royalties work. But with Amazon, there's a royalty cycle. So depending on I think it's 1 month in arrears or something like that, or there's a cycle anyway, but you get notified. So that's how royalties work. But it's pennies really. For royalty to really make, for you to really make money, you're looking at 5,000, 10,000 copies, and above, and that's when it really begins to make a lot of difference in terms of the accumulation of books sold. Yes.
I think, Lisa, before I bring you in, I think it's important that people get that point that you said, that when the publishing house hands you a check, it is an advance. It is not your money. So it's almost like a loan.
Yes.
And they are going to retrieve that. And we see people make that mistake, not only in the publishing industry, we've seen this in the music industry a lot as well, where people don't understand that. And they think that money that is being handed to them is their money. And then you find out that somebody has sold 1 million copies of their album, and then they're filing for bankruptcy the next day. That's because they didn't understand the process. But it's important that if you are publishing a book and you're with the publisher, that you do understand that an advance is simply that. They're going to get it back. So
yeah.
you need to be aware of that. Lisa, please come in.
And when it comes to audiobooks, for example, Audible, they don't actually pay you a month in arrears like Amazon. They pay you every quarter. So every 3 months, you get a report as to how many that you sold, and they deposit the cash in your account. So it's not instant, it's not instantaneous, and it's only 4 times a year. But it's still better than nothing, It's something to look forward to.
Definitely. Lisa, let me ask you this: what are the tax implications on royalties?
Well, as with all income, it should be reported on your tax return, because you are classed as being self-employed when you are an author. So,
did you hear that? It does have tax implications.
It's not good, and depending on perhaps where they are based. I mean, via Amazon, because they're in the US, they ask you to sign a form for you to receive your royalties free of tax. But that is on the condition that they understand that you will be paying tax in the country in which you reside. So, for example, I'm in the UK, I'm paying tax here, so I don't need to be paying tax in the US as well. But there is paperwork to fill in. If you don't fill it in, then they'll tax you at source, and I think the US government will keep it unless you tell them that you're not a US citizen. So
yeah. Okay. Can we look at the other costs involved, financial costs involved? Because I don't think this is something people often consider when they're writing a book. They think, I just need to write the book and everything will take care of itself. What are the other cost implications, Laddie?
Well, apart from getting your manuscript properly edited and proofread, you've got to be able to choose.
Is that compulsory?
Yes, it is very compulsory, and I always tell my clients that there is it's an unwritten rule that maybe I coined it. I'm not sure. It's my unwritten rule. When I see a good editor, I keep I keep that editor. And you know, Bibi, you introduced me to a wonderful editor, Toyin, and I'm giving work upon work upon work upon work. Because when you get a good editor, you keep the editor. So editing is very important, and of course, you be able to communicate your cover style, your book cover, and your layout. And one easy way to do that is, look, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can go to a Waterstones bookstore, you take your camera, use your camera, take pictures of covers you like, or go online and just look at covers, and then look at different layouts. So those are the cost implications. And of course, going forward, and this is so important, and that's one of the things I do. I do with myself, is to make sure you are continually in the faces of your potential clients. There's something called brand equity. Okay, that's the marketing part of the book thing. It never stops. You've got to do something each and every day. You understand? So think of those costs. Don't. It's something that never stops. You can't stop, or else, because of the attention span of people, they'll just forget you. So these are some of the things you do, to market yourselves, and other things. Those are the costs. And of course, nowadays, if you notice during the COVID, I'm sure you noticed that, Lisa, there was a lot of big publishers came onto Facebook, and they were actually advertising their books. I saw quite a few publishers, probably big ones, the big ones and the medium ones, and even the small ones. They had this book, and they hit Facebook, and that was because the cost of marketing on Facebook, the cost per click actually went down. So a lot of people actually jumped on Facebook, and so those are the costs you need to think about: the design costs, the editorial costs, and the marketing costs. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to give a shout out to the lady that you just spoke about, Toyin Onabo of Heritage Publishing, because she was my editor on my book. And I think you're right. I think an editor is vital. It's vital because I know my book would not have been as good as it turned out to be, but for her input. She made me see the book from angles that I never initially perceived. So overall, I had a much better book by the end of it. So yes, I think that they are vital. And Toyin, if you're watching, thank you very much. I hope you get more business, because you're very good at what you do. Okay, we're going to do a quick shout out to some people who have joined us on the show. God Favor Me Lester, Dolly Vefi, Tene Togbahamon, and Kobli F. Fali. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope you're enjoying the show. And I hope you're getting the tips that you need. And I want to see your book soon. We got to see your book soon. You can't just listen to the show. We got to see your book soon. Lisa, do you have anything to add to that in relation to?
Yeah, I think a key one is actually, it's time. When you write the book, there is a cost implication, because if you were doing something else, you have to stop what you're doing, and that could have been paying you there and then, and you have to make the time in order to write the book in the first place. And I think that, people don't necessarily realize that, it takes time to write a book, and you've got to give it, you've got to make that time, you've got to create that time, and we're all such busy people, and so it might have to be that you have to turn down some work that could pay you today in order to get this book written. And so either that, or you just got to get up early and stay up later, and yes, definitely marketing, completely back up Laddie with that. It never ends. And there are other things, like maybe you get a website, so the cost of putting that together and keeping that ticking over. It's marketing to me it's a never ending thing that you've got to do.
Yeah.
So, and there are costs in getting the book, started, like you say, with the editor, illustrators, if you use them, and if it's an audio book, the sound engineer, that kind of thing. But they're one-off costs in the beginning, but a worthwhile investment to get a very good finished product, because you want to have good reviews,
Okay, what's an ISBN number? And why do we need it?
Well, an ISBN number is just like if you go to shop, to Tesco's or to Morrison's, you've got this product and you scan it. Nowadays at the self-checkout, you scan it. So that's the equivalent of the ISBN. ISBN is International Standard Book Number. It's basically a number given to you by the agency. In the UK, it's administered by Nielsen. So they give you that barcode, and that barcode is linked to to your book, to your product, and it's just a way to identify that book. In Amazon, they have what is called an ASIN, an ASIN, and that's because Amazon got millions of books now, for sure. So they use that number to actually track your books, and so you have a ASIN number. So it's a way to catalog your book, to keep track of your book, and it's a very useful tool because, for example, certain books are out of print. You can type those ISBN numbers into Amazon, and it will actually come up with the different versions of it. But nowadays, what I do, yes. But what I do is, when I'm working with clients and I'm helping them set up their publishing company, I encourage them to get their own first set of 10 ISBNs, and basically use the ISBNs mainly for physical books. But if you are going onto other platforms like Draft to Digital, other publishing platforms, you probably need another ISBN, especially if you are doing exclusively for Amazon. But for the ebooks, not necessarily, because if you put your ebook on Amazon, you don't need to have an ISBN for that, because already an ASIN number, ASIN number, will be assigned to that. And of course, you do know that Amazon gives you a free ISBN that establishes you as an independent imprint or whatever. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to be rounding up soon, but I do want to ask one more question. Before I do, I do want you to also say what books that you have written and where they can get them. But I'm going to, again, take the opportunity. It's my show, so I'm going to do what I like. So I'm going to take the opportunity to to promote my book again. And not only because, obviously, I want to sell, but it is so vital. It is so now. My book is called How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur. And it is heartbreaking that almost on a daily basis, we are hearing people are being laid off, companies are closing down. If there's ever been a time where you should, dust off your dreams, stir up your gifts, look for what you can do by way of business and developing different income streams, that time is now. There is no excuse for waiting anymore. There's no reason to wait anymore. That time is now. If you didn't want to jump before, you've been pushed now. So can I encourage you to get my book so that you will have the tools with which to make a smoother transition, because you can make a lot of mistakes in setting up your business. But if someone has already made the mistakes and has the information, then why not just learn from them? But yes, there are lots of good tips in there that can help you do it. So it's available on Amazon, $12.99 on Amazon, or you can go to my website and buy it direct from there, or you can drop me an email at bb@bbclement.com. And I'm feeling very generous today. Maybe because I've got some really nice guests on my show, but I'm really feeling generous today, and I'm happy to sell the book for £10 today. So today and today only, and that's it. All right, I do want to quickly ask you guys, what mistakes do you think you made along the way in relation to writing and publishing a book that you've learned from? So, Ladi, you want to go first?
The biggest mistake I made is, the marketing bit. My very first book was published by a legacy publishing house in 2000, early 2000. I thought, oh yes, now I'm published. Now the money's going to be rolling. I was so wrong. I mean, until I took, I literally had to go and buy my own books. And, I thought the money was good, so I didn't see any check for God knows how many years after the advance. That was a mistake. So I had to go and buy my own books, and actually, when I go out speaking, I'll sell the books and make extra money on top. And so that's the first mistake most authors make. They think they've written a book, now the money should roll in. I don't care if it's Faber and Faber or Penguin Books or Pygmalion or whatever. They don't know how to market. That is the weak point of publishing houses. They've got a huge catalog, backlist, but they are very poor at marketing. So that's the biggest mistake, I would say.
Lisa?
I think with me, I think it was really not having a designer do the cover, because I realise now, but you can change a cover on a book and just completely transform everything. There's a saying, don't judge a book by its cover, but people do. So it's really, really important. Font, and the book title as well, absolutely amazing. So these are the things that I've learned over the years, and the importance of using an editor. You think you can do it all yourself. No matter how good your English and grammar is, it's always good to get a second set of eyes, and not pay someone, not someone who, even if they do it as a job, you got to pay them, because you can't ask a friend to do it as a favor, because they just will fit it in when they can, that kind of thing, or if at all. So just to treat it as a business, that's the key thing, because it is a business. Book publishing is a business as in any other, so you've got to see it as getting your team together and putting the best thing that you can do out there, representing yourself. For the audiobooks, the biggest mistake that I made initially was just not putting in like sound, like having sound effects and stuff, but I've come to that now, so it's great, I have a lot of fun with that, but it's just improving the product, because I must say, I'm not necessarily a great audiobook listener. I listen to a lot of radio. I like to read. I prefer tangible books in my hand. I like to read.
Yes, me too.
So, but I think the cover is, people look at the cover first and foremost, and the name of the book.
Yeah. Well, one of the tips that I was given in regarding to choosing a title is to, there's something on Google, I forgot what it's called, but there's an instrument on Google where you can type in the area that you're writing about. So let's say how to start a business, and you see how many people have bought something or searched for something online in relation to that area. Yeah. So it's amazing how you can have the same information, but that title changes who will buy your book, who will look at your book, it is amazing. It really is. So, for instance, the word entrepreneur was almost 10 times more popular than the word businessman. So, that kind of thing. And people don't think about things like that. They just, I like this title. At the end of the day, it's not you that's going to buy the book. Except your laddie who buys his own books. It's not you who's going to buy the book. So you need to be give them a title. Make it easier for people to buy it from you. You need to give them a title that they want to read, not what you want to read. What somebody's going to pay for it wants to read. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, we're going to round this up. Laddie, give us the name of one of your books and where can we get it?
This is the one. This is a sample, as you can see, from Amazon. It's called How to Profit from Your Knowledge by Writing a Book. I intend to launch it in October. October is the month of the Frankfurt Book Fair, so I'm going to sort of piggyback on that. This is the sample. I'm still going to do whatever corrections I need, but it will be available on Amazon, and of course, it will be available on my website. My website is www.publishingbrain.com. That is publishingbrain.com. Yeah.
Okay. Lisa?
I've written several books. Two I'd like to mention. One is called Constant Cash Flow, and that's just all about how to make money flow to you every single day, which I think is just key. And another one is Make the Most of Your Money, because I have a background in finance, and it just in these times, it's like we've never left the recession of 2008. We're just, everlasting recession. So for survival, people need to think differently, and make the most of your money. So that's available on Amazon in audio format, both of them in audio format as well as in the written form, and on my website, which is lisanewton.co.uk.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. I just want to thank my wonderful guests so much for all your expertise and the information that you've shared today. People pay a lot of money to go on courses to get the information that you guys have given for free today. So you heard it here. You heard it at Bebe Means Business. the show where we have quality guests who very freely share their expertise, their advice, and their information. And I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. The podcast for this show is available, or if you want to go and check it out on YouTube, so that you can, if you've forgotten their details, you can go back and have a look at it and get their details and contact them if you'd like to. Once again, I'm going to encourage you to get the book, How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur. COVID-proof your life. COVID-proof your future. Recession-proof your future. Set up your own business. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been your host, Bebe Clement, and as always, it's been such a pleasure to serve you through this show. Be with us next week. Next week is going to be really good. I have one of my good friends on the show, Dr. Remy Banjoko, and he's going to be talking to us about how to create passive income through trading and investing. So don't you dare miss it. Have a great week. And remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, it's your signature on life.
From employee to entrepreneur.